Hello there and welcome back to some more Grand Theft Auto 3. Today we'll continue on Let's Play. This is episode 11. In today's episode we are taking a look at the Firefighter side mission for the borough of Portland, and unlike Paramedic from last time, this one is not a piss take. This one is actually relatively straightforward and works rather differently. It works a lot like the Vigilante side mission, which we will be covering in a couple of episodes time. But the premise of Firefighter is very simple. You use a fire truck, which can be found at the fire station in Harwood. Alternatively, you can find these on the street if there has been a fire. However, fire-based weaponry in Portland is relatively difficult to come by, so it's just much easier to get this thing from the fire station in Harwood, which I showed the location of at the start of the video. If you can't find it, it's around the corner from the petrol station, as well as near the Capital Auto showroom. But yeah, essentially you drive your fire truck around town, putting out car fires using the water cannon on top, which you use the fire button to make happen. So that circle on PlayStation, not quite sure what that would be on PC. Xbox, I believe it'd be the B button. Anyways, I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's essentially how it works. You drive your fire truck around, you put out these fires, and after 20 fires on each borough, you have completed the mission. And yes, you heard me right. Unlike Paramedic, which is essentially 12 levels, but you only have to do it once, with Firefighter and Vigilante, you have to do the associated action 20 times for each borough. So you need to do 20 in Portland, 20 in Staunton, and 20 in Shoreside Vale to get this side mission fully passed. So this is one that we will be covering later on. The Portland one is relatively simple. Portland is pretty easy to navigate, and if you've done Paramedic and the taxi driver side missions by now, which you really should have done, you should be pretty used to navigating the streets of Portland. I actually did all these in a row. One thing to bear in mind is you do not need to do these in a row. Unlike Paramedic, you can tackle these 20 fires at any time you like, as long as you make sure to do 20 in the specific borough. You are absolutely a-okay. So that's something to bear in mind. But I managed to do all 20 in a row here because Portland is pretty easy to navigate. Of course, as usual with the side missions here in Portland and in quite a few locations in the game, I would highly recommend getting to these as early as possible. In the case of Portland, do it right at the start of the game before you even tackle any missions. It isn't quite as vital as it would be to, say, Paramedic, but it is something that will definitely be helpful when driving through, say, St. Mark's or Chinatown. Just not being shot at is quite a benefit. I believe you can abandon the fire truck in this one. You don't have to stick with the fire truck. You should be able to get out and find another one to continue the side mission. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't think I've actually ever exited the fire truck during one of these, but yeah, pretty straightforward, pretty simple side mission. The fire truck is not the easiest vehicle in the world to drive. It's not quite as bad as the ambulance. It is slower, sure, but it is more secure on its feet. It doesn't really roll around so much. You don't need to have as much caution when driving this one around, and if you do need to ram something out your way, let me tell you, the fire truck makes a very formidable ramming vehicle. It can do it very quickly. Your reward for completing all 20 fires here on Portland is nothing. You get nothing for doing it. You do get an achievement that pops, I guess, if you're playing on the PS4 version like I am. But in general, you do not get any rewards for this side mission until you have completed all 60 of the fires in each of the 3 areas. Unlike Vigilante, which does give you something, at least from place to place, Firefighter does not, which is worth bearing in mind. So what I'm going to do now is speed up the footage quickly because, well, you should be pretty used to this at this point. Because it's, well, pretty straightforward what you're doing here. You're just going around the city putting out fires. One interesting thing to note about Firefighter is that there is actually some special vehicles on offer here. Some weird cars can spawn here. You'll notice there's gang cars spawning that shouldn't be here. I believe there might be a Hood's Rumpo. Yeah, there was one I just drove past. Mr. Whoopies can show up to this. If you're looking for a specific sort of rear vehicle, especially stuff like Mr. Whoopies, Trash Masters, stuff like that, they can appear here in the Firefighter mission with relative frequency. It can make it one of the better ways to get one of these cars. The way to get one is pretty straightforward. Just put the fire out and get in the car and drive off. Again, I don't know if you'll fail the side mission for doing that, but considering there's no actual real down course for failing at Firefighter, considering you don't need to do it in a row, it's not a bad idea, especially for something like the Whoopie. Again, a very rare car. Otherwise, you'll only really see it driving around Chinatown occasionally, and it is something that's actually required for the import-export garage later on in the game, so it is something definitely worth bearing in mind. Anyways, we're coming up towards the end of the footage now on fire number 15. Yeah, easy peasy side mission. Probably the easiest of all of the side missions in the game, in terms of, you know, between vigilante, firefighter and paramedic. It's also a lot easier than rampages and finding stuff like packages and stuff, so yeah, definitely the easiest sort of distraction in the game. It can get a bit tiresome. In fact, this footage only took 12 minutes, but it did feel more like half an hour for me, because it is essentially just driving your fire truck from one place to another, doing the same old thing over and over and over again. But there you go. Anyways, as we come back to normal speed and put out fire number 20 for the Splish Splash achievement. And I believe you might also get something for doing 20 in a row. Apparently not. Anyways, yeah, you can just cancel the mission there, and that is your 20 fires fought for Portland. You can now get out of the fire truck and do whatever you wish with it. As you can see, I turned the sirens off because I can't be dealing with that noise anymore. Anyways, that's it for this episode of Grand Theft Auto 3. I do hope you've enjoyed. Next time, we are going to be taking a look at the vehicle missions here on Portland, so join me for that. Until then, farewell.